really grateful for you for coming on the Grit and Grind of Autism. And I think you have a really special story to share. So thank you for making time. We were just talking a minute ago before we started recording, but I remember when I first met your precious little son, and it was probably, well, he's going to be 13. He was 2, so it was like 11 years ago. And he was just a baby in a stroller, and it was on a zoo field trip.
Oh my
And he was
God.
just the dearest little boy. And I asked the aide who had him, I was like, oh my God, Jesse, who is that precious little boy? And everybody just loved him so much. And
Thank you. It's been, oh my God, you're saying how many years? I'm like, oh my God, it's been that long.
I know. It's been a long journey for all of us. I'm just really grateful to get to know you over time and, your friendship. You're such a sweet soul. And anyway, just if you don't mind, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Lemlem Kentiba. Thank you so much for having me, Diana. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it has been quite a journey. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for taking me in when at the time I felt like a lonely journey. It really, truly did. And, you were there, helping me, adding me to the Facebook group so I can have more resources and helping wherever you can. So, your friendship means a lot to me. And your kindness was, I don't take it for granted. So, most people that are going through like something like that, that's what they need. And with everything that you were going through, you took the time to stop and show me kindness. So that really, really meant a lot. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Of course. I'm so glad that it helped. And you can't say it enough. It does take a village. We can't navigate this on our own. We all need one another.
Oh, absolutely. Finding resources and, it was really helpful. And I met, beautiful Colin. I'll never forget Colin, he just gave me the biggest hug, and he just have this energy like I can't explain. It's just so positive. And, I miss him. I wish I could see him more. Maybe we can arrange something to visit him soon. But yeah, he was just a sweet spirit. Such a beautiful boy too. Oh my God, he's so handsome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate that so much. And I think that we can arrange that because we're closer in proximity now.
Oh my God,
you moved. So that would be great.
Absolutely. So I definitely look forward to that, for us to connect. And I cannot wait for you to meet Yosef in person. He's such a charming young man, very intelligent, outspoken, and I always get a compliment about him. Actually, I had someone come over to my house to discuss some things. Anyway, he was talking to Yosef, and the compliment that he gave me about Yosef was like how he saw him interact with his sister, and then he sat down and talked to him as an adult. He was like, wow, he has such a great personality where he can be a kid with the kids, and he can have like a serious adult conversation with the adults. And I was like, wow, that's an amazing compliment.
It certainly is. Oh my gosh. That's
he
so
knows
wonderful.
How to work the room. He knows how to maneuver his way. So it's such a blessing, It really.
Oh yeah. He's such a charmer. He's grown into such a charming young man.
Really has. I don't know, I'm like, okay, teenage years and, girl. So I'm like, ugh.
You have 2 children. And Yosef's going to be 13.
He's going to be 13 next year. And I have my little baby angel doll, Yara. She just turned 4 September. She'll be 5 next year in September. So she's walking around my little shadow, borrowing my lipstick and my shoes. Yep, that's her. She's so cute. Yara means in patience, and also means beautiful butterfly. So she's just like her name. She's very patient, very calm, just to herself. She doesn't really need anyone to play with. She can do on her own. While Yossi is such a social butterfly, he's he's leading groups within his school, and he has an amazing personality as well as Yara. So I'm really happy. I'm blessed. I can't complain.
First of all, both of the names are beautiful and such beautiful meanings. Aiden and Colin's names are kind of similar. Colin means quiet, peaceful one, and Aiden means fiery spirit.
Oh, I love
And
that. I love
yeah,
that.
and they're both we went with Irish names, and they're both like obviously so fitting for their personality. So it's so interesting how that works out, isn't it?
It really is because Yosef means God shall add. Yara means patience. So I'm like, when they say be careful how you name your children, I mean, they're exactly, it's Yosef, if you know from the Bible, like it, Yosef has, fought a lot of battles, but he's always been, God's favorite, and he always comes out on top. So,
And
you
how
know,
perfect is that for his journey?
oh my God. Yeah, looking back, I'm like, you don't even realize how the name fits, the journey. It's amazing.
Yes, they're both absolutely gorgeous children. You were born here, right?
No, so I was actually born back home. My parents are from Eritrea. I'm Eritrean. I was born in Ethiopia. I grew up there. But I came here, not to Maryland, but I grew up in Texas. I traveled to the US when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went to high school in Dallas, Texas, and I stayed in New York for a little bit and then moved to Maryland, and I did my undergrad and graduate at Towson. Yeah, so I've been here ever since. I travel a lot, but yeah,
And
Maryland.
how did you meet Gary then?
We went to the same undergrad. We actually used to go to UMBC library. I think this was like when we were 21.
Okay.
Our late 30s now. So, yeah, that's how I met him. And then, we got together, we started dating, and then we went to graduate school at Towson together.
So
Uh,
he's from here. He's not from Ethiopia.
no, Gary's from here. Yeah, he is
Okay.
actually, his family's from South Carolina. He was born in Maryland.
Okay. Okay, got it. So let's talk about Yossi's journey, like from the very beginning, if you don't mind, like just setting the stage, like how old he was, when did red flags start happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Yosef was born in 2010. He was overdue maybe 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to have like an emergency C-section because I thought I was going to be able to give regular birth, like in the natural way, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I did an emergency C-section, and then he was meeting the milestones, and he was getting vaccinated throughout that time. Like he didn't miss anything, and I did breastfeed him for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, but then it was maybe under 18 months, I started noticing. Before that, he was saying, I want to take a bath. Like he actually had words.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like, he didn't have any fever. He was not the type of kid that got sick often. So he just like wasn't saying much. And I felt like some of his words kind of regressed and went away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. I said, well, wait, maybe it's just a phase that he's going through. Honestly, like I knew people had autism, but like, unfortunately, if it doesn't affect you, don't really know. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
really look for the signs. So that's when his doctor brought it to my attention. He was like, well, he's 2 years old. He should have these many words. I was like, okay. And as a mother, I'm like, I was like, something is off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. So, the way he was interacting, and it just wasn't, yeah. And then I think by time two, I think we were already at a third daycare
Mm-hmm.
because they were like, he's not behaving normal. Like, we cannot keep him. I was like, whatever, like defending my son. I'm like, take him out of the daycare. And I stayed with him actually, stopped working, stayed with him for a little while. And then after that, he got kicked out of like 3 more daycares. They just didn't know how to handle him, the behavior, and he's not verbal. It was a lot. So by this, I think that was the 6th daycare. I was like, okay, let's go get him evaluated. And then that's when they said that, it was like 4 or 5 hours of evaluation.
Mm. Was it Kennedy Krieger?
It was Kennedy Krieger. And then Kennedy Krieger's well day we did from a different doctor, private doctor. So, I wanted to get a second opinion. I'm like, probably nothing. So,
Sure.
and then when we didn't tell Kennedy Krieger about, his diagnosis from the first doctor, I just wanted to see what they were going to say. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sure enough, they were like, yeah, he has all the signs of autism. He needs to get help as soon as possible. And yeah, it was my world was turned upside down. It went dark for a while, and I cried about it that night, but I was like, there's no time for my emotions. I'm like, let me figure this out for my son. And his doctor, the key thing that he said to me was like, he's only 2. if there is any hope, the development, the way, he's still developing. So this is your time. And I just took that to heart, and I started searching, like the Schaefer Center. Like Schaefer Center came up because that's one of the best centers that was available at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I called the school system. Unfortunately, we didn't have any good luck, maybe because I don't know what the issue was. They just would not help me. So I said, you know what? We have to do what we have to do. So I just pulled him out of the daycare that he was in. And I just put at the Schaefer Center. It was, how much Schaefer Center was. I don't need to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started fighting with the school because they would not cover anything. But I knew that early intervention, if there was any hope, this was the time. So I just put him in the Schaefer Center, and they're miracle workers. They're amazing people.
Yes.
They took it to heart. They started giving him speech, and we started adding additional speech outside of Schaefer. He was doing OT, and their little small classroom that they had. We met so many great people, and he started, we didn't see a result right away. It took a little while. And I'm like, it was maybe a good year and a half. But then when it happened, it was just like a flower that just blossomed. Like, it was an amazing thing to see when he started talking, because, he really didn't start talking until he was 4.5. So there were times where I'm like, is what I'm doing working? Like, all this money, what if nothing happens, But then I would have regretted even more if I didn't do anything. So I said, you know what? We're going to give it all we got. Fortunately, the school system at that time was not on my side. So it was a battle, like at every IEP meeting. It was just so exhausting. And it was times where I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this anymore. It was exhausting. It was a fight for every little thing. I'm like, why?
Those early IEPs were brutal, but I do think it's the standard for everybody, because that's the feedback I've gotten from so many people that I've spoken to. Yeah. Just those early IEPs, they really fight you tooth and nail. They do not want a non-public placement. And the fact of the matter is, our kids could not mainstream at that time in their life.
There could not.
And Colin still can, he still needs a non-public setting. But just to frame it in that, there are so many people that were able to mainstream once they had that early intervention, right?
Yeah.
Remind me, was that Baltimore City or Baltimore County?
It was actually Baltimore County. Okay. I called them several times. They would not show up. And I just got tired. I'm like, do you wait for them another 6 months, or do you take action in your hand? Yeah. And just what needs to be done? And that's exactly what I did. I called his doctor that evaluated him. God bless her. She actually, helped me getting into Schaefer, which is really great. And they just started right away. And that, I think the early intervention did miracle for him, as you can see. And we were at Schaefer for literally 2 years straight. Then after that, what I did was started getting his ABA therapist and then, people that were helping him to come into the public school setting. So make sure that, he's doing everything that he's supposed to. And then he was able to get into the morning and the afternoon program, and Schaefer was coming. They were able to get a room within that hour and a half break. They used to do ABA with him and then stay with him. Yeah, it was really intense. It really, truly was intense.
Outside of the ABA therapist working with him, did he have a one-to-one with him at all times originally?
Yeah, he did has a Schaefer ABA therapist that was actually with him one-on-one for an extra year.
Okay.
Then once everything was settling down and he started showing improvement, then we started switching the Schaefer aid. Like, we started from 5 times a week to 3 times a week to 1 time a week to supervision. And then we slowly faded out, and it got to the point, I think by the time he was 6, he didn't even need an aid. He was doing amazing, talking, and wonderful. He was doing so great. And it's so exciting, but we did so much work, for 4 years, ABA 5 times a week, 5 hours a day. You know how it is at Schaefer Center. Even when he left Schaefer after 2 years, he used to get ABA therapy during his lunch break on weekends. And sometimes when there was no school and additional, he was getting speech at least an hour a day, 5 times a week, until he started, until I saw progress. I kept it the same. Everybody was like, you're wasting your time. This is too much therapy for him. And it's times like you question yourself, am I doing too much? You know, like you don't know until you give it a.
It's so interesting that you brought that up, because I just had a flashback with Dr. Christina Cardo, who was so lovely. And for the listeners, if she runs the Schaefer Center program, she always said, and it was hard to hear at the time because our kids were little munchkins, but she always said, they can sleep later in life. We got to keep going and going and going right now.
And that was what I followed. I said, if this is, I trust you. I said, that's what she told me. She's like, he can sleep. I said, okay. I'm like, and then let's keep going. And that was such a great advice. You know, it's times where I felt guilty. I'm like, oh, am I just, because he would just get in the car and be so exhausted. And I used to feel so guilty. I'm like, am I just doing too much? It's times where he used to get in the car and just sleep through the night. Like that's how exhausted it was. But yeah.
But it's like they needed that intense repetition and that molding. I remember that Colin used to take naps on I don't know, like a crash pad or something. He would take naps like, and it wasn't just like when he was, you know, a baby or a toddler. Like I think it was like at age 6 or 7. Christine's like, okay, we have to fade out these naps. Like, I know Colin's tired, but we need to, you know, we need to push through. And she was absolutely right. And, you know, we did it in a very, you know, comforting, systematic way where he could still take a rest and have breaks, but he just couldn't crash out for 40 minutes a day.
I know, but you know, once you start that nap, you have to get 30, 40 minutes. So we did the same thing. We fade, like there's no time to sleep. We fade out his nap. She would listen to me. She was not messing around. She's like, nope. You know, I'm so glad they were the Schaefer Center folks. They were each therapist. They were so amazing. They were so on point. And you know, I can't thank them enough. I really cannot. They did such an amazing job with Yosef, just following through. And there's times where I feel like, you know what, I don't know if I can get through this IEP meeting. They were like, no, we're gonna do this. It's a hard journey. And unfortunately, the school system does not make it easier for parents. And you just have to fight. You have to look up what is available. You have to fight for your children. Every 3 months, you have to show up to this IEP meeting. And sometimes the IEP meetings will go week long. I'm so tired of looking at these people. But the fight must go on.
It was like having a sit-in, right? It was like, I'm not leaving this table, order pizza, right? You know, it's like,
that's how it is.
It's that, or I'll see you tomorrow. I'm not signing the document, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not signing it until and then it's like, and some of the stuff looking back, I'm like, they were just dumb little things you could have just given to the child. We wasted hours and it's very sad, but the longest IEP meeting I had for Yosef lasted 5 days.
That's crazy.
They weren't giving me what I want. I'm not moving. They're not moving. I'm like, okay, and then Friday, finally. It started Monday, went through Friday. I'm like, finally Friday. I'm like, okay. I'm like, we can have another week. You know, I was not. I know they probably hated me, but I'm like, listen.
You're like, I'll keep going.
I have a lot of PTO. Come on.
So funny.
Yeah, but when
I wanted to, you know, yes, they were you know, the Schaefer Center undoubtedly was absolutely fantastic. They do early intervention so incredibly well, without question. I think that the Schaefer Center and Trellis are probably the top 2 for early intervention in the entire state. And Trellis has expanded. I'm not quite sure where Schaefer is right now. I think they expanded a little bit, but I think
they did do a little. They expanded a little bit, but I don't think there's any more. I don't think they expanded any more than what they already have done because they wanted to focus on certain age groups.
Sure.
I know Trellis, they're expanding everywhere.
Yes, Trellis is up to high school. They went in increments over the years, but you know what? I get it with the Schaefer Center. They're so good at what they do, and it's okay to, you know, just say, this is what we're going to focus on because we're really good at it.
Yeah, if it's not broken, why fix it, right?
That's right. I definitely, anytime like we get like a new member on those Facebook support groups, hey, I just moved here from whatever, Texas or Florida. Um, what are your school recommendations? And there's lots of different opinions. But I always say go see Schaefer Center and go see Trellis for two outstanding programs in addition to any other schools that you're interested in.
Exactly.
Right? Because you want to see the programs to hold themselves at the highest of standards. So
I
you
absolutely
can, yeah. And not every child
agree.
needs that intensity, but many of them really do. And I think it's a testament because Yossi was one of the kids that was able to mainstream. And so before we get to that part of his journey, I know you talked about like all the intervention programs that he did in school and outside of school. The Schaefer Center had such an outstanding OT, Dr. Ashena Stujanki. We were so fortunate to have her. And what made her stand apart from so many other OTs, in my opinion, reflecting back, was that she understood the whole sensory integration piece.
Yes.
Now, I think that more and more OTs understand that and are implementing that these days, but back then I think it was fairly unique.
It really truly was. Yeah. Especially when, Yossi and Colin were, younger. Yeah, it truly was. So, and that's the reason why I went to the Schaefer Center. Like when you speak to them and their understanding of what should take place, what their understanding of autism is and what should happen, it was so refreshing. Like, wow, I'm like, if anybody was going to do it, it would have been them. And right away from day one, it was just such an amazing experience. But yeah, you have to understand it from different angles. And I think most places are not successful with even ABA, OT, because they're stuck in one way. Like there's not one way of doing things. Like if this is not working, you have to be able to maneuver to a different way of, a different way that fits that child's life. And Schaefer gets it. They absolutely get it. And I'm telling you, they came to our rescue, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Yes, because I think that brings up a great point. They did therapy in a natural learning environment. And so you could, like, I remember Christina saying, we can do therapy on the move. If Colin wants to be outside, we'll do speech outside if that's where we're going to get the most from him.
Yeah. And I think that makes a big difference. Like understanding the child and understanding each individual child and understanding their needs and, changing the therapy to fit each child. That's what, Schaefer Center basically stands out from any other facility, in my opinion. And, there are times as Yossi grew and like started accomplishing his goals quickly, we'll meet and add more goals, more challenge. And it was like nonstop when, even once he went mainstream, they were right there with us until I think about almost age 5.5.
Yes.
It made sure that he was good to go. And once he met all of his IEP goals, I'm like, what? There's no more IEP meeting? I'm like, it can be. But yeah, they were there.
Well, you had stockpiled your IEP meetings.
I'm like, it was on my calendar. I had like 2 big bins of IEP, and the Yosef's IEP, I think each was like 20 page. I was not lining up. I said, nope, he's not doing this. He's not doing that. Yeah. But
as far as the outside therapies, because he was also getting private speech, you mentioned.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, he was absolutely getting spiked. Like Saturdays we'll do speech therapy, and also if he's not too exhausted, I used to do it like twice a week outside of the Schaefer Center. Even when he was going to school, he was getting speech therapy inside of the school with a Schaefer therapist first, and then once they were able to train the therapist at school, they was quickly switch because there are methods and techniques that Schaefer Center used that the Baltimore County honestly were not familiar with. So yeah, and then I think because while we were implementing Yossi's ABA at the school that he was in, Baltimore County and the Schaefer Center actually, because of Yosef, they made an agreement to do training, ABA training to I think maybe 20 or 30 of their therapists. So yeah, something even more, positive came out of it. I'm like, my God, this is such an amazing agreement that more people would get help. And that made my heart really happy.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Really
That
huge.
is absolutely huge to think of how many kids that help support.
Yeah, because if each child get the care, the attention that Yossi got,
Hmm.
you know, and I mean, I think we'll be, sitting in a different world. But unfortunately, some parents do not know that there are resources out there or what their rights are, or or where to go. And I've met parents who didn't even think they were part of the IEP team, which is mind blowing. But yeah, that's why I try to share as much information that as I can, help whoever I can,
I'm so glad
just
to
to
hear
bless
that.
other people. Yeah.
So actually, this is like a good time. Can you tell everybody what it is that you do within our community?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Yosef was okay. And, he didn't have any more signs of autism, which were so shocking. I took him to Johns Hopkins, Kennedy Krieger, to a private doctor. I'm like, is this really true? It can't be. But it was like a light just shining on, Yosef and us. And because, when you get diagnosed, your world's upside down. You never think that you'll get to the other side. But I'm like, if I just keep pushing one more year, one more year. But I'm glad I did what I did. I'm telling you right now, if I did not, I would absolutely regret it. Yeah, so I was able to share my story writing a kid's book regarding Yosef, which is King Yosef and His Superheroes. And I just did that, like just to share the information. I'm like, does anyone know that they can get help like I did? And
So
I'm
tell us about the one, like the idea of the superheroes and sort of like who they are, what they represent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you can, the background. This is
Yes,
the King
can see
Yosef
it.
and his superhero. So that's King Yosef, of course. I didn't put mom and dad at first, but I'm like, wow, we're his heroes as well because we worked so hard to get to where he needed to be. And I added a speech therapist and an ABA therapist and an occupational therapist,
Oh.
added different characters that
Hmm.
like literally just help him get through his journey to the other side to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, it's the little characters that, the speech out. I hate that background. It blurs it, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I just did it like I was like, if I make it a fun kids book, like and I to share this story, it's not only for kids, it's like actually such an inspiration story for adults as well. And I also thought about a child, then you have the same situation where one sibling is autistic and the other is not, like let them know that it's okay to be kind, it's okay to have a sibling who has special needs, just
Yes.
a story to share, an inspiration. Yeah, so ever since I published this story, there are, I think, over so far 60 people that reached out to me all the way from Italy,
That's
Holland.
amazing.
It's so many people that are needing of help. It's mind blowing. Like I
Yeah.
didn't even think it was going to reach that many people, but yeah, I literally put myself out there. Just I don't want anything in return. Like one of my prayers was like, this is what I was going to do once he heals. And I didn't even think that was possible. I don't know if it was going to be possible, but I believed in it. I just keep telling myself, there's hope, don't give up. So I just, my information's on my website. I just, reach out, put something on my Instagram and different parent groups. All I do is just connect with these parents and just provide them with guidance. What county do you live in? Here's the parental guide. Here's what you need to do. Like, don't do this, do that. Have you gotten an evaluation? There are some parents, they just need help finding a doctor. And then
Yeah.
I just take some time, whenever I have time, call around to see if there's available appointment and help them fill out the application for scholarships or different funds they can get because, these co-pays, they add up. It is not cheap. And most people don't look at that. Like financially, it is draining and mentally. Yeah, so I do what I can, like there are IP meetings that I attend for people just to help guide and know what their rights are. And it's just, I feel like that's what we're here on this earth for, like to help each other, if not, what's the point, right? And like I said,
Yeah.
you have extended grace and mercy to me. And you were just so kind. And I was just going through so much at that time. And yeah, and I just do the same for others. Just show kindness and be like a parent called me the other day. Her son has autism. She lives in California, and they just suspended him. He keep telling the teacher she is in his space. He keep telling her to back up, and she would not allow him that. He got frustrated, and he just did a light kick. They made such a big deal out of it. They kicked the kid for like, I think a week. They kicked him out of school. So I attended the IP meeting with her, got on a call, and explained exactly what should happen, pulled up the rights and the policies for the school, and we got him right back to school like in a day and a half. But she didn't know what to do. I'm like, this is a child with autism. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you see what the issue was first?
And the child said, you were in my space. And it's so, thank God the child is able to communicate that. Like, this is overwhelming. This is giving me anxiety. I need space. And they didn't respect it.
The teacher did not respect it. And she just got so upset the fact that he lightly kicked her. But he has sensory issues. He's autistic. Like,
right.
If he's saying he doesn't want you, just allow him that time. If not, the sensory issue is going to escalate. And he's gonna, we don't want that to happen. So just allow him the space. So yeah, it's just knowing your rights. Like, this child should not be kicked out of school, like, for an entire week. So some parents just need help, just need a little push. And I do what I can, with what I have. I helped over like maybe 20, 30 parents so far. So I do what I can when I can. But like I said, some people just need the information.
Yes. Lily,
Yeah.
you're giving such a tremendous service to so many people, whether it's the 20, 30 that you physically helped, or it's just your book in circulation. It's a tremendous service.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Of course. I mean, and you're right. Like, we are here, whether you say to give back or to serve, it's all the same. And it's true. It's true. People helped me along the way, and I want to continue to do that in our journey. I don't think I'll ever stop until my dying breath, because I always said, if I'm going to do this for my kid, I'm going to do it for all the kids. But it is about helping and supporting one another, because if you're not on this journey, you don't know how to do it. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is not an easy journey. It is a journey that is exhausting, like mentally, like not even physically, like you're drained. And some days you've given so much to the teachers, to your son, you have nothing else to give. And I know that feeling. Being a regular parent, without kids with special needs is exhausting, because you're continuously giving. But not only do you have to deal with your child, you have to deal with the IP, team members, team meeting. You have to deal with the teacher. You have to deal with the ABA therapist. You have to deal with so many people you come across. You're just constantly giving. It is exhausting. So
and I'm sorry, I just wanted to interject. Let's not forget that you and I, and probably, well, definitely a plethora of other moms out there, were also working full time during all of this.
Oh my God.
In the early years. So I am not working a paying job. I mean, I work really freaking hard every single day, but I don't get paid for it anymore, because it just ended up that Colin needed me, and my workplace was not willing to be flexible and support the needs that I had. And so there you go.
The fact that you were going through this and they weren't supportive. When you told me, it just blew my mind. I was like, what?
Yes.
But
I do want to say many were supportive, including human resources. Yeah. It was really just came down to one person.
It's always down to one person, isn't it? I had actually the same difficulties, like with I applied for short term. Oh my God. Yeah. It was like, okay, you're no longer a valuable employee because you can't be here 40 hours. It's like you said, it's always that one person. It's always that one person. But yeah, it's working full
But
time.
you did have to leave a job though, didn't you?
I did. I just could not deal
Yes.
with it anymore. I said, you know
Yes.
what? I'm actually going to take some time off to just be with my child and take some time off. Like I was so
Yes.
exhausted and tired at that time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some time off. And that's exactly what I did. I took some time off and it was well needed time off. And
Yes.
I was able to transport myself, Yosef to everywhere he needed to be. And it was
Yeah.
nice to have that little time off, for myself. But yeah,
Good.
it's crazy. Like as soon as you said, "Oh, I need to take off some time for my child," and but anyway, that's not every
But
manager is that way, but there are some managers that are.
right. And I think it is significantly improved since COVID because we have the world has shown that they are responsible enough in their job to do it anywhere,
Yeah,
right? That you don't need to be in that one particular building.
you really don't. Like you can
And
do stuff from
if
home. Sometime.
and then if you're not responsible, well, then you get fired. But you know,
Yeah, that's a different
90
story.
99% of the people want to keep their jobs and their benefits, and they're going to work really hard to hold up their end of the bargain of being an employee. So I do think that the tide has shifted, but for those who did have to go through similar situations that you and I did, it was a big loss financially.
It really was.
And quite honestly still haven't recovered from that.
Yeah.
But you know, hopefully with time will that will shift.
It was.
And then there's parents who just can't, maybe they just chose to leave because they were so overwhelmed, and they too were just on, one salary.
Yeah.
But no matter the circumstances, it is a extraordinarily large stressor financially when you have a kid who has differing needs with all these additional extra out of pocket expenses that
Wow, yeah.
insurance doesn't
Deductibles,
cover.
co-pays. It's never ending.
Yes.
I'm like, I've paid enough. It's
Yes.
never ending. And then in our situation where, either the school system, I remember at that time, like I think the law just passed for ABA therapy for the state of Maryland. I think it literally they passed the law for insurance. I believe it did because
Yes, it was, sorry. It was, I think if my memory serves me correct, it was 2014
2014. Yeah.
that it
So
finally went through.
yeah, so 2012 to 2014, we literally paid out of pocket for Yosef's ABA.
And that's an extraordinarily amount of money.
It really truly was, but I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but it really truly was. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know this paper center, you know how much that bill was. I need to, but it was financially draining. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to give up.
Of course, it's your child and it's an investment in your child's life, right? And no matter what, Yossi is on the other side, thank God. And, Colin is not on the other side, but has made so much progress and so many gains and continues to do so every single day. And so we're just going to keep going.
That's all you can
Him and
do.
I are going to keep on trucking along no matter what, no
That's
matter how long it takes, no matter, he will have every opportunity available to him for, the most independent, best quality of life ever.
Yeah,
Right.
I absolutely agree with that. And I'm so glad that you're seeing progress with Colin. He's such an amazing kid. I
Yeah.
see the different things that you're doing with him. I'm like, that is so amazing. And he seems like he's very attracted to nature, water,
Yes.
and I love that. So yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
progress, like tremendous progress. You're gonna keep going to give him the best possible life, as you can. You may not know what that is 5 years from now, but I love the fact that you're still going with him and you're not willing to give up, and you're
Yes.
Yeah, you have such an amazing journey, like your
Uh,
story.
and I'm like, you didn't say this word, but I know what you were doing was manifesting, and that's what I'm doing too.
So
You know,
I was gonna, yeah, that's what I was gonna cover. The entire
yes.
time I was with Yosef. So my brother, maybe 6 months,
Hmm.
no, a year before I had Yosef, he gave me this book called The Secret. I know. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I know.
read
I'm
it.
familiar.
I read it. I was like, okay, whatever. And I put it down. Then something, when I was pregnant, I read it again. I'm like, it's just something was just calling me. And with Yosef, you don't know that what the outcome's gonna be. But I'm like, you know what? I just keep manifesting and just imagining in my head, like talking to him. I'm like, and then I keep writing, journaling, like, affirmations. And I kept doing that with, for 4.5 years. And finally it worked. Like I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this. Then I started reading The Secret again. It really worked for me. And nothing but with the grace and mercy of God, of course. But the universe really moves when you move. And I really truly believe that. It's times where I just broke down and cried and told Gary, you know what? We're not doing this anymore. I am tired. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I could. This was like maybe 2 years into our journey. We really wasn't talking, like there was no progress. I'm like, what is going on? But
Yeah.
you've met Gary. He's such a calm soul. And he was like,
Yes.
no, we're gonna keep going. And it's like you just need a good sleep. And then, it's like we'll wake up and try again. So he's such an amazing father and partner. And it's times where I felt like giving up. And I'm so glad I had him to encourage me. He's so calm. Everything is like, he was like, well, okay, this is what it is. He was like, we'll figure it out.
Oh, his words were absolutely perfect. You know,
Yeah, they really.
really very supportive, and that calmness helps so much because you don't want when you're going through because it is when the there in my opinion, I'm going to take a step back here. In my opinion, there's like two different types of autism.
Yeah.
Right? So you're born with it, that infantile autism, or you regress into it, right? And I think the regressive autism is um, our kids. Our kids need intensive therapy. I'm not saying that the kids with infantile autism do not also need the intensive therapy, but what I'm saying is that the regressive autism isn't, you know, it's not just like this neurological developmental disorder. It's like a whole body. We know it affects multiple systems, if not every system throughout our body. And that's the hardest part. So you do feel like you're in crisis
Yeah.
a lot of the times. And the last thing you want is for your kids to see you not being able to handle it day in and day out, right? We all have bad days, but like we have to get ourselves to a point where we can carry on. And you were able to do that, whether it was manifesting, prayer, Gary,
Oh my
whatever,
God.
just, friendships and love and family,
Yeah,
whatever it was.
family, absolutely. Like my family, his family, especially my mother, God bless her heart. She was over here every day folding laundry, making food. It was like that was the
Yes.
last thing on my mind. So her help, it just means more than anything in this world. It really truly that makes me
Yes.
so emotional when I think about it. Yeah,
Yes. And
at that time you don't see it because you're running. But then when you kind of take a moment to sit down, I was like, wow, it would maybe nothing to her, but that right there was so much help. Like I needed it. And she
yeah.
was right there. So I'm so blessed to have my mom. And of course, my mother-in-law too. She was there,
Mhm.
at the speech therapy session, sitting there just waiting for Yosef, taking him, giving us a break. So absolutely. Thank God for my mother and my mother-in-law, they are supporting us, helping us. And my father-in-law, Kevin, God rest his soul. He just passed away. He was such a great grandfather to Yosef. He loved Yosef. And yeah, we greatly miss him. Every time Yossi comes around, he goes, Yossi. Yeah, I can still hear his voice. But yeah, we had great support all around, and I'm so grateful for that because most people do not even have that. So,
It
yeah,
makes
at
all the
that time you don't
difference.
think about it, you're like ripping and running. But when you look back, I'm so, God, I'm so blessed. Like, I'm so grateful for the help that I had. But when people do it, they don't think they don't think it's a lot, but thinking back, just having someone to help you wash clothes and fold for the kid, it meant the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in addition to the like typical sort of, you know, mainstream therapies that are available
Mhm.
for kids with autism or people with autism, um, you and I have done a lot of alternative therapies as well. So I wanted to ask mainly about the dietary um, nutritional piece, because like you and I still talk about that. We talked about it just the other week, and you were very helpful in giving me some awesome Ethiopian recipes that
Yeah.
Colin just loves.
Yeah,
But
I have to give you berbera too. Yeah, so it's a little spicy, but that's my mother brought it's called berbera, the spicy red um
yes.
powder thing. It's basically red peppers. But yeah, my mother brought it from Eritrea when she went right a year before COVID. So yeah, whenever I see you, I would definitely make sure that I bring some. But when Yosef was going through that, the immediate thing I did, again, it was just trying different things. Like I knew I've always had iron deficiencies, vitamin D, so I got him tested. He needed vitamin D, a full vitamin, extra iron, and a couple of other vitamins that he was taking. But I completely stopped dairy, a lot of processed foods, and meat. I completely eliminated from his diet, like completely. So he was eating a lot of
So
homemade,
tell me,
Linton.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just going to
That's okay.
ask, tell me a little bit more about the meat angle, because I personally don't eat a lot of meat. I occasionally eat chicken and turkey, but other than that, I'm pretty much, so I don't know a lot, and I don't cook very well. I'm learning
Yeah,
for Colin.
that's okay.
So tell me that angle. Educate us on that angle of eliminating the meat from the diet and how it helped.
Yes, absolutely. So I get, like naturally in our tradition, like I said, my parents are from Eritrea. I was raised in Ethiopia. A lot of half the year, honestly, we don't eat meat because of the tradition that, the religion, Orthodox, my mother fasts and I do it with her, not all the time, but on Wednesdays and Fridays, no meat, no dairy product. Um, and then I think maybe 3, 4 times a year, like they fast for night, maybe twice for 40 days, 30 days, 40 days, and another 40 days, I think. So literally like most of the year, we don't eat meat. So, and I realized, I started doing some research and, the things that hormones they put in meats and different things. And I just want him to do clean eating. And I felt
Sure.
like it may have affected him in ways. So I just completely it's like, let me try to make, the foods that he's ingesting like as clean as possible, make it natural, like fresh fruits. And I try to go to the, farmer's market to get those fruits because, it's a lot more cleaner, in my opinion. So yeah,
Mhm.
so I just changed it. Didn't know, I was just trying different things with this work. Because of that, my children eat lots of fruits and vegetables, thank God. But
Good.
yeah, it just was like, the hormones, in meat and, I feel like eating meat all the time. I just feel like to me, again, it's not natural. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I felt like it really helped. We did it for actually 5, 6 years. Now he slowly is eating, small meat, but we don't cook a lot of meat. Like at
Hmm.
home, maybe we do it once a week, but I'm trying to get away from it and have more of a plant-based diet, even just
Yeah.
it gives you mental. Even when I do cleanse for 10 days, like I can sleep so well. I
Hmm.
have mental clarity. I'm like, so that's what I used to do a lot of cleanses. And when I did that, I was like, wow, if I can have that type of clarity and calmness and rest, I'm like, imagine what it could do for him.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah.
That's
And
perfect.
yeah, and then I knew like for a fact that I've always been deficiency in iron. I have to take iron supplements. And I'm like, I was Googling, I'm like, if he has the same thing, how would that affect him? And then D, vitamin D. And so, that's basically the angle that I took. And I really truly believe that it helped them a lot.
Did you go to functional medicine, or was your pediatrician willing to do that testing for you?
My pediatrician, he's so amazing, Dr. Starr. He retired maybe 2 years ago. I'm so sad that he retired, but he was such an amazing doctor. He was able to do the testing for me. So
That's great. So it was covered by insurance then. That's great, because I do know a lot of people, and in fact, I use a functional medicine doctor as well, because the type of testing that a lot of our kids need is pretty much out of scope. But it's not to say that you won't find a very you know, maybe more educated, sort of out of the box pediatrician who's willing to go the extra mile and justify the testing.
Exactly. And actually his pediatrician was like the one, he kind of was like, well, Lem, I don't think he's right. I was like, he was like, there's some things here I see that I don't necessarily like. So he was like, and he gave me, he actually referred me to the Baltimore County. He was like, they have a pre-program. And I called him crying after like a month. I was like, they're not responding. I was like, Dr. Starr, please help me. And he actually gave me a referral to 2 doctors. He was like, I'm not sure who you're going to choose. And he referred me to this amazing doctor. So, and, I went to her and she just got right on it. And, like I said, a lot of, unfortunately, the good doctors, they don't accept insurance. But she helped me get into Schaefer Center, and they had an opening and everything worked out. But yeah, his doctor is very knowledgeable and he's a little bit of old school, which I really liked. He takes his time, and he kind of analyzes everything from all angles. And when I told him I have a deficiency, is this a concern for him? That's the first thing he did. We did the testing. So so many great doctors along the way, so many grateful people that I ran into. Yeah,
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it makes a difference, in my opinion. The food.
I'm with you with the food. So I'm do definitely prepare food as clean as possible. So I can, I can cook. Okay, let me take a step back. I'm not the best cook in the world because I just don't have the experience.
You're 10 minutes away. I'll come and do a couple dishes for you. I'm coming over.
I would love it. I would love it because it would be hands-on and I would like learn it so much easier if I had like hands-on. But I did get through both recipes, or 2 of the 3 recipes that you sent, and it turned out really great. So I'm definitely getting better and a little bit more confident. But like, with the vegetables, like I either steam them, steam fresh veggies, or roast them.
Roasting is the best, isn't it?
Yes. And Colin loves that. He loves roasted vegetables. So that's a win. And if he does get like chicken or turkey, it's always organic. But again, it's like it's less and less than that. It's more lentils and beans and plant-based. And it reminds me, like one of the very first conferences that I went to for autism, like, probably 14 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't remember who the presenter was, but nutrition was one of the first things that they covered. And that was then. I can't even imagine now with the way our food chain is, but they were saying that like one chicken has like that at that time, like over 140 antibiotic shots in them.
Yep. Imagine what it is now. That was 14 years ago.
Yeah, it just is mind blowing. Really and then in turn, as you said, we're consuming that.
Yeah.
And we have now such a more large scale problem with our food chain. So it would probably behoove everybody to try to eat more of a plant-based diet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Organic plant-based diet.
Organic plant-based diet. And I actually am like one of the things that I really would like to do this year is kind of start growing my own kale, tomatoes, and just the easy stuff to grow. Like I that's my project for the springtime. That's it.
Great.
Yeah, so I would love to start doing that. Because it's just the hormones that can be really, it's not good for your body, your mind, even your skin. You see the difference. Like if I do cleanse for 10 days, juice cleansing, I see the difference in the way I feel, my skin. I'm so much more restful. Like when I sleep, I feel like I don't need that much sleep. 6 hours is good enough. But yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. So 14 years ago, imagine what it is now. I don't even want to know, honestly. It's so disturbing. Yeah, but I really believe it made a big difference, even with my daughter now, Yara, who's 4. She doesn't really like meat, which
Mhm.
I think maybe because when I was pregnant, I completely hated the smell, taste of meat. I hated it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now she loves fruits, vegetables. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't force her. And if she doesn't eat it ever, I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when Dr. Shafir, did you see him? The neurologist, Dr. Shafir. Does that
No,
ring a bell? Okay. Um,
I know who he is, but I did not see him, no.
okay, yeah. He is semi-retired, but in any case, he was one of the first people after diagnosis who talked about the diet. So like he diagnosed and then he's like, well, here's something you can start working on right away, which is so amazing that, a neurologist, they seem to get that connection with
Yeah.
the gluten and the dairy. And
Yeah,
um,
they do get the connection. The doctor that we went to for Yosef, she's also a neurologist. So um
yeah.
yeah, so she had experience with, that was also her background. So it made, it made sense to go to her.
Absolutely. And like you probably remember like reading this through your research, but for like some of the listeners who might not know or who are new on this journey, um, so when you have an intolerance to these, gluten or dairy, um, it almost acts like an opioid, right? So there's this like addiction piece where you like want more milk and more bread because it's like it has that part of it, but the other part of it is this like big layer of brain fog, right? So it ties into exactly what you're talking about with the clean eating and the eliminating of, the gluten, the dairy, soy even, and just eating as clean and as healthy as possible. And it is daunting. I know people who have been on this journey for, a while and they haven't really done an elimination diet, but they're interested, but it's really scary. And I get it because you're just trying to hold it together and get, your kid like through the day and yourself through the day, and throwing a wrench into the equation by changing their diet. But luckily there are so many substitutes for these things now, like
Yeah.
like oat milk and things like that, nut milk of some sort.
Yeah, even almond milk is so easy. There's like a little machine that I ordered the other day. It's so easy to make at home, and it's so much easier now than it was 10 years ago, 14 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Almond, you just buy the almond and it literally takes 10 minutes.
I think that it's definitely worth parents trying. It's one of the easier things that you can do. And I'll put some book recommendation in the notes along with your website and Yossi's book.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and hopefully just by our discussion and some additional, guidance through books, it might be helpful to a few people out there who wanted to try it, but were just a little overwhelmed.
It
It's
just
one step at a
doesn't.
time.
Exactly. One step at a time. You took the words right out of my mouth because it is overwhelming when you think about it. I was like, oh my God, I have to start doing this, doing that. And then with a parent that's going through this, oh my God, like how will you find the time? How will you find the energy? But like you said, one thing at a time. If you can eliminate just chicken today, and a week later you do a nut, that's all it takes. And that's exactly how I did it, one thing at a time. So yeah, it is overwhelming, but I think it is absolutely worth the try and exploring it. So yeah, if you can share the link, and I will try to, share my experience as much as I can, as I have been doing to help people. But I really honestly, my belief is it makes a big difference. It made a big difference for me. So yeah, just one thing at a
You
time.
know, once in a while, Colin will get a hold of a piece of regular bread, or he'll grab, um, I don't know, something that has dairy in it, and it still affects him. I can
Yeah.
see it in the behavior.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I think it's really profound in like the little guys for some
Yeah.
reason, but it still definitely like makes him like, it's just the strangest thing. I can almost visually see brain fog coming over his eyes, and whether it's hyperactivity or some self-injurious because it's hurting his gut,
Yeah.
you know so to this day I believe in it, but
I really truly agree. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And if you can share the link, of course, to provide guidance and reading to other people, I absolutely believe that it will make a difference. The one thing that I mentioned, forgot to mention is, so after I wrote the book, this is the book that Yosef wrote, believe it or not.
he
It's
wrote it.
The Daily Adventures of King Yosef and Queen
That's
Yara. Positive
amazing.
thoughts will lead to positive life, positive life. So he came to me one day and he was like, Mom, you inspired me so much. I want to write a book. I could not believe it. I was like, oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Every day on his way to school, I used to do prayer and then meditation and then affirmation. And you do it. You didn't think, I was like, it's not going to make a big difference. But I've been doing ever since he started talking, even now. But now he's a big boy. He wants to take the bus. Uh, But yeah, I didn't, you don't think, I'm like, you do it and hoping that it will have some impact. And I didn't realize what a big impact that it made in his life. So yeah, he basically, it's just amazing. Like when he came to me, I was like, well, here's a piece of paper. And dude, I was like, he probably not gonna, at that age, I'm like, he's a kid. But he did it. He wrote everything, he drew everything. And it's just about
Oh my
no
gosh.
matter how your day goes, like there's always a positive outcome.
That is
So
so amazing. That is like the most amazing gift for you as a mom. I mean,
it
he
really,
actually said,
truly.
you inspired me. Mom, you inspired
Oh
me.
my God, he's so good with his words. Like your
Oh
day.
my gosh.
Yeah, but
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
just
And
to
I'll put that in the notes too.
yeah, absolutely. When I come by, I'll bring you a copy, but it's just about like their day went wrong, but just looking at a positive outcome. Like no matter, there's so many negative things in this world, so many negative things that happen throughout your day. If you focus on the positive, there's always a positive outcome. And that's what I've been, teaching him every single day. And yeah, it was amazing to see. And he drawing a little character. I was like,
I love
that's
it.
so cute. It
I'd
was,
like to order some copies for his school.
oh,
So,
absolutely. That is,
yeah.
yeah, it was such a beautiful thing to see. So, it's just, I understand that, everyone's journey is different and not everyone may not, everyone have a different outcome. But my
Of
prayer
course.
for everyone, every single parent that's going through this journey is honestly to come out on the other side. That's my wish for every single person and that's why I work so hard to go out there, help as many people as I can. I'm like, this information out there, like it's not going to do me any good if I don't share it with others. So, you know, um,
Yeah.
that's what I want. So yeah, it was lovely to see for Yossi to kind of put something together. It was such a rewarding moment for me. I was so
Yes.
emotional about it.
And
But
he's given back and serving too. I
yeah,
mean, oh,
he
Lily,
really is.
I'm
And
just so grateful because a lot of the people that I interview, a lot of the parents are still sort of in it,
yeah,
right? The world needs inspiration right now, as you know, for so many reasons. So our
for so
community
many,
certainly needs it.
yeah,
And it might not look like Yossi in the end, but it could be very different than what's happening today at this moment,
yeah, exactly. And
right?
yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, yeah, it could be completely different. It may not
Yeah.
be the same outcome as Joseph, but it could be something so much better than what it is today. And I keep that in mind. Like I keep that in mind when I talk to parents.
Yes.
Focus on how we can make it better for next year, 6 months from now. There isn't really all that therapy we went through. I wish there was a special pill that I can give to every parent, but it's daunting. Like it's so exhausting. Like I feel that when I talk about it, I still feel the exhaustion I felt. So my heart goes out to parents that are still in it. And that, my heart goes out to every single parent, like so many people that I met, beautiful people that I met. It's just everyone has different things they're dealing with.
I think it's worth mentioning, like with regressive autism, the starting point of regression is also very different for each kid.
It is.
So like Colin's was extraordinarily intense.
At what age did you notice his regression? Like what age was Colin?
Oh, it was at 14 and a half months. And it was within 24 hours of a round of vaccines. So it was instant.
Yeah. So mine happened a little later, but yeah, it was around the same time as well.
Yeah. So it was like no question that, and his regression was like, it was, I mean, I literally, my heart broke in half that next morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? I haven't really told my whole story I mean,
yeah, you and I.
Friends, I've talked to friends, family, individually, like, but I have not told it on the pod. And I'm getting there. I'm getting closer to it, but it's a long story and I want to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Take your time
and
you share it properly. But I know you've shared it with me, and
yeah,
I forgot how old he was, and it was heartbreaking. I can only imagine. Oh God, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, Diana. Like it's
me too.
As a mother, that's the last thing you expect. You're adjusting to new motherhood, and this happens. You're like, what's happening? What's going on?
That's why like when it happens, it's like this can't be. And so and that's why it was like a very conscious decision that whatever I do to help my own kids, I'm going to help all of the kids, because it shouldn't be that this keeps happening, and it does.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And you have done so much work for our community, through the local government, the state, to help these kids. You've done amazing work. Like my hats off to you. You really have.
Well, going back to it takes a village. I do what I can, just like you do what you can. But it's like we need an army.
Oh my God.
We can only do what we can do.
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah. We absolutely need an army.
Yeah, that's another whole podcast, but
it really is. A couple of episodes at that.
But anyway, I just want to lighten things up, because we had such a lovely discussion, such an inspiring discussion, but still it was hard, and I'm sure it brings up a lot of really tough memories. You have clearly explained and expressed that you did find light in your journey, not only with Yossi pretty much recovering from his symptoms, also you found your light throughout the journey, like in a spiritual sense. That's how I like to tie up the podcast. I want to give people tools, suggestions. If you haven't found, one or two things that can help you during your crappiest days ever, maybe we can give you some ideas, or maybe you can just add some more ideas to tools you're already using, right? Let's kind of help one another by making suggestions. Okay. So the first question is, what is your favorite book?
Oh my God. Right now I'm reading two. Oh my God. It's A Radical Awakening by Dr. Shafali. It's Turn Pain into Power. Embrace Your Truth. It is. Oh my God. You have to get this book.
Is it new?
So I think I've had it for 6 months. I
Okay.
honestly, like, I'm reading like 2 pages a day because between my job, my 2 kids, my husband, I am so busy,
Yeah.
but I'm almost halfway there. Even if I can do a page in the morning, I'm a happy, I'm a happy girl. So it is an absolutely wonderful book, like every woman, even man, should read. It just talks about how you turn your pain into power and you embrace your truths. Like, don't run away with, from it. This is what it is. I accept it. Now, how do I fix it going forward? So it just helps you like live freely, not to be ashamed of anything. And that's my whole thing about the diagnosis with Yosef and the journey. You don't have to be ashamed of anything. I didn't bring this on myself. It just happened. That's just part of life. But you have to empower yourself. How do I move on? How do I make this better? What stage you're in, I feel like it can always be better. And I feel like everything that you say and do, positivity is like my thing. Like some days I have to be like, oh, I just hear like this went wrong. But I quickly just kind of like, okay, we had the pity moment. Now, how do we move on? So I just focus on the positive things. I journal a lot. I do a lot of affirmations. I listen to a lot of positive podcasts, like Super Soul Sundays is like my absolute favorite podcast. But there are so many other ones that I listen to that help me. Another book that I'm reading is Master Key System. I just started reading this. So it's a very interesting, it's just basically a book about law of attraction.
Yes.
Similar
Okay.
to The Secret. Like I still read The Secret like once a year. I bring it out. Because it helps you like just, to have unwavering faith that things are gonna be okay. Things are
Yeah.
gonna get better. Like, so that's where my focus is. Like, no matter what the situation is, I don't focus on I accept it, but how do I make it better? Affirm, just believe. Like I don't waver from that. Sometimes it takes 4.5 years, sometimes it takes 6 years. But if you believe it and you put out in the universe, I really truly believe that it will come back to you. So I'm a true believer in that. Another book that I got that I just started read maybe 10 pages is by Tabitha Brown. It's called Feeding the Soul.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you know about her journey. It's called, there it is, Feeding the Soul Back. She talks about basically what we talked about, finding her way to say joy and freedom, how she went from eating meat, how she was having so many problems with her health, and she switched to like a plant-based diet, and how her life is so much more better. So many health issues, headaches, and I think she said even none of her family lived past 50, 60.
Oh, wow.
And how when she changed to like a plant-based diet, like how her life got better. She felt better. Her headaches went away. And I'm trying to do the same. I'm not completely 100% vegan, but I am trying to get there. And I truly believe like within the next year, that's where I want to be. So those are like one of those 3 books. I go back and forth. That's probably why I never finish them. But whatever feels right that day, I just take a page and read it.
That's great. I love that. I'm a multi-book reader also. There are some books I read the whole way through, but usually I'm reading 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah, so I try to do that, like sometimes certain books, it just doesn't feel, feed the soul that day. So I'm like, let me, change to this one. But you're right. There are some books where you just hooked like, oh my God, what happens next? So,
but you're right. Some days it just doesn't feel right for you.
Yeah, it just
That was
doesn't.
a good way of putting it.
Yeah, just not feeding you. So I'm like, let me switch to this one. So, yeah.
So where would your dream vacation be?
Oh my God. Definitely Africa, like in Eritrea, even Ethiopia.
Have you ever been there where your parents were born?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Egypt. Of course, we take a lot of vacation to Mexico here and there, but there's so many places. Ghana is one of the places that I want to see. And Africa is such a beautiful place. A friend of mine went last year. She was like, "You must come." She didn't come back. I'm like, "Are you?" She didn't come back. Like, "You're coming, Lemlem?" I said, "I think so. I'm not sure. Soon, maybe."
Well, you have to, since she hasn't come back. You have to go see her.
And that's it. Like I have a reason. And Europe is like, I have a sister that lives in Sweden, and I have another sister that lives in Holland. So I haven't been there, after COVID, but I definitely look forward to going next year, hopefully. So Europe is like also one of, my favorite places to see mainly because my sisters are there.
You have a nice list.
Right.
Okay. Who inspires you?
Hmm. If you asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have given you a completely different answer. But today, my inspirations are my children. They teach me so much, and I get my inspiration from nature. Like,
Yeah.
I just love nature. So Yosef did something, and I was I was telling him, no, that's just not the way you do it. And he was like, Mom, this is my first time doing it. I've never done this. So how would I know? I'm like, I was like, oh my God, he's right. This is his first time interacting or doing this. So I'm like, why am I treating him like he has experienced this before? So, like they help me grow. Like, but I learned so much from my children, like especially Yosef. He's very vocal. So he will tell you, I was like, well, I've never done this. So how do you expect me to do it? I was like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, you're right. You have never.
He's so wise for his age.
Really truly is. He really truly is. So,
Yeah.
like and I had to take an account, like, oh my God, yeah, he has never experienced this before. So I had to kind of take a step back and talk it through. Like, if you ever come across this is what happened, this is what you do. And so, yeah, my kids inspire me, and I get inspired also for all the amazing women that I'm surrounded by. Their
Yeah.
strength. Women like yourself. Their strength, their ability, the connection that we have. But yeah,
I
my
love
just.
that. That's beautiful. Okay. And what do you do for self-care or respite?
So, I'm doing a better job at that, right? Like taking a bath, exercising, and do a facial at least twice a week. So I am actually, my job has been extremely busy. So I'm actually like, I need to do more for myself. So literally like this week, I started kind of, even if I just walk for 15 minutes by myself
Mm-hmm.
and I listen to like meditation or just calming music, and it makes a big difference. And then right before I start working, I work from home now, as you know. I go outside, just fresh air.
Yeah.
Go outside, sit out there for like 10 minutes, even if it's raining, just on the balcony, just to get that fresh air just makes all the difference in the world. So, and then throughout the day, some things to feed my soul, like journaling, or if I just read a book, or if I, just something for me before the kids get home. So yeah, that's a work in progress, I honestly have to say. But I'm doing, I'm trying, taking vacations, spending time with my husband, having nights with Yosef, with my baby girl, Yara, and, of course, spending time with my family as well. So
it's all a work in progress. We're human, right?
pretty much.
But all we can do is try. You might not be able to do them all every single day, but anything is better than neglecting yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything, just 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I think like being disciplined about like, work, like your hours. And I think it makes a big difference. Yeah.
That's a good one for sure. To wrap things up, what would your best advice be for parents? I'm inclined to say newly diagnosed, but I'm just going to leave it open. What's your best advice in general for parents?
Got so many advice, right? Like, don't ever be afraid to just accept for the diagnosis for what it is. Don't ever neglect yourself. Don't forget yourself. It is not the end of the world. It's okay to take a day. It's okay, to have a moment. We all have it, but keep pushing. Keep pushing. There's always some type of light at the end of the tunnel, some type of positive results or change that you will see along the way. So keep fighting, keep pushing. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. It's okay. Most of us are just so afraid, so ashamed to ask for help, especially a lot of women. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm so lost, I don't know what to do. Yeah, but keep fighting. It is not the end of the world, and what is meant, it will be. Keep pushing forward is my advice, and have lean on people that you love and people that love you. Yeah, keep pushing, keep moving forward. Don't forget to pray, to affirm. Everything happens for a reason. You didn't do anything wrong to deserve this. That's just the world we live in. Unfortunately, things happen, but you are more than capable. You can do this, and just keep going, keep pushing, and something positive will happen.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Years ago, when the boys were in the early intervention program at Kennedy Krieger, did Yossi go there? I can't remember.
Yes, he did a summer program, and he was getting some assistance from there. Yeah, they have a great program. They have an amazing program.
So at the time, Dr. Kay Holman was the one overseeing that program, and she now is at Towson and a professor at Towson. But she taught us, like, on day one, there's always something positive, right? And so she said, try to find your gold nugget, every day, whatever it is, like the smallest thing, don't overlook it, acknowledge it.
Yes.
Right?
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I live by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to find your golden night. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always something positive, even in a day of crisis.
It takes the same amount of energy to be positive and negative, in my opinion. So I rather shift my focus to being positive. That it's okay. Like, this is the now. This may not be forever. So I'm gonna, keep pushing forward, and like you said, find that golden nugget every day, and it adds up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Lem, it was so good to see your beautiful face, and you're such a sweet friend and such a sweet soul, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you for coming and talking to me today.
So thank you so much, Diana. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for having me, and I cannot wait to connect with you soon. I'll come and do some quick cooking. I can't get it out. Cooking lessons, for Colin.
I love it. I'm telling you, with this kid, the spicier the better. He's gonna love your Ethiopian food.